The office lights buzzed overhead, their harsh glow adding to your exhaustion. The noise of sewing machines and muffled conversations made everything feel even more overwhelming. You were just 3 months into your new job at the fashion design company, and it was tougher than you had imagined. You sat at your desk surrounded by fabric swatches and unfinished designs. Every task seemed harder as fatigue set in. Your boss had been especially cruel today, piling on extra work and dismissing your efforts. The unkind treatment from your colleagues only made things worse. You felt like you were working endlessly, without any real sense of progress. Suddenly, your boss stormed over to your desk earlier in the day, his face red with anger. "Boss, these designs are terrible," he barked, throwing your sketches back at you. "Do them over, and I need them by the end of the day." He didn't even give you a chance to explain or ask for guidance. His words cut deep, making you question your abilities and your decision to work here. Your colleagues weren't any better. They often whispered behind your back, making you feel like an outsider. When you asked for help or clarification, they either ignored you or gave you curt, dismissive answers. One of them, Sarah, rolled her eyes when you asked her about a fabric choice. "Sarah, figure it out yourself," she snapped, turning away as if you were a nuisance. During lunch, you tried to join a group of co-workers at their table, hoping for a moment of respite. As soon as you sat down, they fell silent, exchanging glances before getting up and moving to another table, leaving you alone. Seriously, the isolation was suffocating. Throughout the day, you were always tense, expecting the next scolding from your boss or the next rude comment from a coworker. The pressure was too much, and without any support, it felt unbearable. You felt like you were drowning, with no one to turn to for help. To make things worse, you got your period in the morning. You felt the familiar cramp and discomfort as soon as you came here. Thankfully, you had pads with you, but the pain and fatigue made the day even harder to bear. Each wave of cramps felt like a cruel reminder of how tough things were. The day dragged on, each minute feeling like an hour. Your hands shook as you tried to keep up with the demands, but the stress and fatigue made it difficult for you to focus. Your mind kept drifting to Jungkook, your boyfriend, longing for his comforting presence. The thought of him was the only thing that brought you a glimmer of hope in the otherwise bleak day. You texted Jungkook, hoping for some comfort, but he wasn't answering. Maybe he was in a meeting, but you knew he was at home today since he had no missions or office work, just meetings. He had decided to stay home to catch up on some rest. You both lived in different apartments, but whenever you felt like you couldn't take it anymore, you went to Jungkook. His place was your refuge, where you could let your guard down and find solace in his arms. The thought of his comforting embrace was the only thing that kept you going through the endless criticism and isolation at work. As the cramps and stress combined, it felt like the worst day of your life. Every minute dragged on, each task seemed impossible, and all you wanted was to escape to Jungkook, to feel his warmth and let out all the emotions that had been building up inside you. As your shift finally ended, you felt a wave of relief mixed with exhaustion. Without wasting a moment, you booked a cab and headed straight to Jungkook's apartment. The ride felt like an eternity as you replayed the events of the day in your mind, each thought making the weight on your chest feel heavier. When you arrived, you barely waited for the cab to come to a complete stop before you were out and rushing to his door. You rang the bell, your heart pounding with a mix of anticipation and desperation. Within moments, the door swung open, and there he was, Jungkook, your sanctuary in human form. "Jungkook, hey baby," he greeted you warmly, his eyes lighting up at the sight of you. The moment you saw him, the floodgates opened. You burst into tears, your sobs racking your body as you threw yourself into his arms. Hugging him tightly, you let out all the frustration, pain, and sadness that had been building up throughout the day. Jungkook, it was horrible," you cried, your words muffled against his chest. "My boss was so mean, my co-workers were awful, and to top it all off, I got my period this morning." Jungkook's arms tightened around you, pulling you closer as he rested his chin on top of your head. "Jungkook, oh, my baby," he murmured, his voice filled with concern and love. "I'm so sorry you had to go through all of that. Jungkook, you don't deserve any of this, especially not today. It's just not fair." You buried your face in his chest, your tears soaking his shirt. "It's just so hard, Jungkook. I feel like I'm giving everything, and getting nothing back. He kissed the top of your head softly, his hands rubbing soothing circles on your back. Jungkook, you're doing more than anyone could ask for, he said gently. They don't see how amazing you are, but I do. You're strong, and you're doing your best. That's what matters. You clung to him, feeling the steady beat of his heart against your cheek. Yin, I couldn't handle it. Jungkook, you continued, your voice shaking with emotion. They were all so cruel, and the pain from my cramps made everything worse. Jungkook, I hate that they're treating you like this, he said, his voice a mixture of anger and sadness. You're so talented and hardworking. They don't appreciate you at all. You deserve so much better. You cried harder, the warmth of his embrace making you feel safe enough to release everything you had been holding in. Yin, I hate this job. You confessed through your tears. I feel so useless. Jungkook's grip tightened even more as if he could squeeze all the hurt out of you. Jungkook, you are not useless, he said firmly. You're incredibly strong, and I'm so proud of you for pushing through. But you don't have to keep doing this if it's breaking you. We'll figure something out together. We can look for a better job, or even start working on your own designs, whatever it takes to make you happy. After a few more minutes of standing at the door, Jungkook gently picked you up like a koala, your legs wrapped around his waist and your arms around his neck. He carried you inside, closing the door with his foot. Jungkook, come on, let's get you some water, he said, softly, his voice a soothing balm to your frayed nerves. He carried you to the couch and gently set you down, his movements careful and deliberate. Jungkook, wait here, You nodded and sat down, still sniffling, as he disappeared into the kitchen. The brief moment alone gave you a chance to catch your breath, the physical pain of your cramps, and the emotional toll of the day still weighing heavily on you. Jungkook returned with a glass of water, his eyes never leaving your face. He knelt in front of you, handing you the glass. Jungkook, here, drink this, he said softly, and caressed your hairs, his concern evident in every word. You took a sip, feeling slightly calmer, but still emotionally raw. Jungkook sat beside you and then gently lifted you onto his lap, cradling you as if you were the most precious thing in the world. His arms wrapped securely around you, and he looked into your eyes with deep concern. Jungkook, now, tell me where it hurts, he said softly, his fingers brushing away the stray tears on your cheeks. You took a shaky breath, feeling the warmth and comfort of his embrace. Yin, everywhere, you whispered. My stomach, my back, everything. Jungkook's brow furrowed with worry as he started to gently massage your lower abdomen first, his touch firm but soothing. Jungkook, I'm so sorry you're in pain, baby, he murmured. We'll make it better, I promise. As his hands worked to ease your discomfort, he asked softly, Jungkook, baby, have you eaten today? You shook your head, fresh tears welling up in your eyes. Yin, no, I didn't have time. There was so much work, and I couldn't take a break. Jungkook's expression grew even more concerned. Jungkook, that's not okay, he said gently but firmly. You need to take care of yourself, especially today. You leaned into him, feeling his strength and warmth. Yin, I know, but it was just too much. He nodded, understanding the weight of your words. Jungkook, let's get you some food, he said, his voice filled with determination. He started to get up, but you clung to him, not wanting to be apart even for a moment. Yin, I'll come with you, you insisted, not wanting to let go of the comfort he provided. Jungkook smiled softly and without hesitation, picked you up in his arms again. He carried you to the kitchen, every step careful and steady, showing how much he cared. When you reached the kitchen, he gently settled you on the counter, making sure you were comfortable. Jungkook, stay here and relax, he said, giving you a reassuring kiss on the forehead and lips. I'll make something quick and easy. You watched as he moved around the kitchen with practiced ease, pulling out ingredients and starting to prepare a simple meal. Despite your exhaustion and pain, you felt a sense of peace just watching him. Jungkook was your rock, always knowing how to make things better. As he worked, he kept glancing back at you, his eyes filled with love and concern. Jungkook, you've been through so much today, he said softly. I hate seeing you like this. You deserve so much more than what they're putting you through at that job. You nodded, feeling a lump in your throat. Yin, I just feel so overwhelmed. Jungkook, I don't know how much longer I can do this. He paused, turning to look at you directly. Jungkook, You don't have to do it alone, he said firmly. We'll figure it out together. If this job is too much, we can find something else. Just tell me, I will open you a big showroom. Your health and happiness come first. Tears welled up in your eyes again, but this time, they were tears of gratitude. Yin, thank you, you whispered. I don't know what I'd do without you, but I need to build skills and experience. I want to do all that on my own. Jungkook walked back over to you, cupping your face in his hands. Jungkook, I'm here, and I always will be. We're in this together. Just tell and I will do anything for you, okay? You nodded, feeling the sincerity in his words, your heart swelling with gratitude. He smiled softly, his eyes full of affection. Jungkook, here, I'm done. Let me feed you. Let's go back to the couch and watch some TV. Before you could respond, Jungkook gently scooped you up again, cradling you in his strong arms as if you weighed nothing. The tenderness in his actions brought fresh tears to your eyes, but this time, they were tears of relief and love. He carried you back to the living room, each step careful and deliberate. You could feel the steady rhythm of his heartbeat, a comforting sound. He gently settled you on the couch, making sure you were comfortable before he went back to the kitchen to grab the plate of food. Jungkook returned quickly, the plate of food in hand, and sat down beside you. He positioned himself so you could lean against him, his arm around your shoulders, providing a comforting support. Jungkook, here, let me feed you, he said softly, picking up a fork and offering you a bite. You opened your mouth, allowing him to feed you. The simple act of being taken care of made you feel cherished and safe. With each bite, you felt a little stronger, the warmth of the food and Jungkook's presence combining to ease the tension that had been building all day. He kept the conversation light, talking about funny things that had happened recently and telling you stories that made you smile. Every so often, he would look at you with such tenderness that it made your heart ache with love. When you had eaten enough, Jungkook set the plate aside and adjusted his position so you could lie down with your head on his lap. He grabbed the remote and turned on the TV, flipping through channels until he found a soothing show that you both enjoyed. As the show played in the background, he gently stroked your hair, his fingers moving in soft, rhythmic motions that were incredibly soothing. Jungkook, just relax, baby, he murmured. I've got you. There's nothing you need to worry about right now. As the show continued, you felt yourself starting to drift off, lulled by the warmth of Jungkook's presence and the gentle rise and fall of his breathing. Just before you fell asleep, you heard him whisper, Jungkook, I love you. I'm so proud of you for being so strong. We'll get through this together, I promise. With those words, you let go of the last of your tension, sinking into a peaceful sleep, knowing that with Jungkook by your side, you could face anything that came your way. As you drifted off to sleep, Jungkook watched you with a gentle smile. Jungkook, she's fallen asleep, he murmured softly, his voice barely a whisper. He marveled at how peaceful and serene you looked, your face softened by the calm of slumber. He couldn't help but notice how beautiful you were even in sleep. The way your eyelashes rested against your cheeks, the gentle rise and fall of your breath, it all seemed to highlight your natural grace. Jungkook, even after 2 years, he thought, I still can't get enough of adoring you. He noticed the faint blush on your cheeks and the way your lips curled slightly into a serene smile. Unknowingly, a low chuckle left his mouth. He gently stroked your hair, his fingers brushing softly against your temple. Jungkook, I'm so lucky to have you. Carefully, he lifted you into his arms, his movements tender and deliberate. As he carried you to his room, he made sure to keep you as comfortable as possible, his heart swelling with love for the person he held so closely. In his room, he settled you onto the bed, pulling back the covers and gently placing you down. He took a moment to gaze at you, his heart aching with affection. Jungkook, you deserve all the love and care in the world, he said softly, his voice barely more than a murmur. I promise I'll always be here for you through everything. He slipped under the covers beside you, wrapping his arms around you in a deep, comforting embrace. He nuzzled closer, his lips brushing against your forehead in a tender kiss. Jungkook, I'm proud of you no matter what. The next day at the office, you were shocked by how different everything felt. Your colleagues were unusually friendly, and even your boss, who had been harsh, was treating you well. He greeted you with a genuine smile and asked if you were feeling better. You were surprised by this sudden change. It was so different from the harsh environment you had dealt with before. As you sat at your desk, you couldn't help but think about Jungkook. Since he's involved in the mafia, he might have used his influence to make things easier for you. Maybe he had told his men to handle things with your colleagues. The thought made you feel a mix of relief and unease. On one hand, it was great to see everyone being nice and supportive. On the other hand, you wondered if it was right for Jungkook to use his power like that. But you had to admit that the change was a huge improvement. Throughout the day, you noticed small gestures of kindness. People were more helpful, and your boss was encouraging rather than critical. It was a stark contrast to the previous atmosphere.
Bye bye. Love ya.